In this video, I got some huge keys to show off to you guys that I scored at some amazing deals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle Haas. And in this video, I got some books to show off to you guys that I scored at a pretty amazing price overall. And I want to talk about this idea of buying deals versus books. But before I get into the books, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, help support the channel, do one of those things, and I would appreciate it. All right, that said, let us get into the haul here today. And let me set it up a little bit. This past weekend, I found myself in an area in SoCal that I don't often frequent, but there is a comic book store up there. And I've been there a couple times, but never really bought anything significant. And I was in there this last time, and the guy who was working there happened to come up to me and say, "Hey, are you looking for anything in particular?" And it's really funny because anytime I go into a store and someone asks me, "Hey, are you looking for anything in particular?" Really in my mind, what I'm thinking is, yeah, I'm looking for a good deal. Because oftentimes, like what I'm actually looking for as far as keys that I'm after for my own collection, what are the chances that they're actually going to end up in the store? Or what are the chances that, these books are going to be at the store being charged at a price that is, competitive compared to what is out there, say on eBay. So I'm always looking for books that can add to the equity of my collection. And, I mentioned to the guy and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just kind of browsing, just looking around." And he was like, "Okay, well, let me know if you need anything in particular. I have a lot of keys in the back as well that I can look up for you if there's anything that you're after." And that was kind of when like a light bulb moment went off in my head. And I was like, "Oh, yeah," like I didn't realize that he had a whole inventory of stuff in the back. So I was like, actually, yeah, there's quite a few books that I was looking for. So I went up to, the desk and he pulled up his computer where he was just going to look up everything. And I basically just like gave him a long list of all of these like, keys that, yes, I'm looking for them, but also like, these are just books that I think are cool books to own. And depending on the price, I'll definitely pick them up if in fact, he has them at a good deal. And one book here in particular in this comic haul is literally the best deal I've ever got for a book, a key book proportional to its actual FMV. And I will save that one for last. But let me get into the good stuff here. The reason you guys came, let me show off the first book here. This one I have always been wanting to find. And actually when I was at TorpedoCon, I was looking for this book and there were tons of them, except they were all like being charged extremely high. But this one right here, I got this one for $100. And this is Journey into Mystery, Annual #1, first appearance of Hercules right there. And this is a really cool book. One of like the few sort of Silver Age first appearances of a superhero that generally speaking is still pretty affordable. I mean, Hercules is a character that has so much potential to become like this, super like famous superhero within the context of pop culture. I feel like there's a lot of potential with this character. Additionally, we've just recently gotten news that, Zeus is going to be played by Russell Crowe and is going to make an appearance in the Thor Love and Thunder movie. So that's got everyone speculating that we might in fact lay the foundation for Olympus and Hercules, etc. This still is actually the first appearance of Zeus as well. So this is a book that's gotten extremely hot. And I was really happy to find this one for $100. Now it presents beautifully. I've already kind of put all these things in Mylar bags. So obviously it looks really nice. It presents nicely. There is a tear right here on the spine about this big. So, it kind of knocks it down to probably a VG overall, but for $100 for this book, I mean, I'm super happy to get my hands on this one. All right, the next one I got here is a book I got for $90. So, still a little bit of a premium, but one that I feel like this is like basically as guaranteed of, a return on my investment as it comes within the market right now. Speaking of Love and Thunder, I was able to score a Thor God of Thunder #2, first appearance of Gore the God Butcher. Of course, Gore is going to be played by Christian Bale. And I found this one for $90. It's a really nice copy. It's not perfect. It's probably like a 9.4, I would say overall. But it looks overall really nice. Definitely a book that, I was not really interested in owning this one. Like I have no affinity towards the Gore character, but one that, again, buying the deal versus the book to me is really important, because what I'm ultimately doing is adding, trading chips to my collection. I'm adding equity to, the books that I already have. And, when this one gets hot, I can take that equity and move it into the book that I'm actually looking to find. So first appearance of Gore the God Butcher. I think that this book, it's already kind of hot now, but honestly, I mean, based on how the market has been reacting to anytime we see characters in trailers or whatever the case may be, I mean, this is a book that, has the potential to triple. Like once we get Christian Bale in his full makeup, full VFX looking like Gore, I mean, people are going to go nuts for this thing. So I think that this one is really, really cool. All right, the next book I got here is one that I think is extremely undervalued in the market. And this one is Marvel Spotlight #6, first comic book appearance of Star-Lord. Now, I was able to score this one for $12, which I think is a really, really great deal. There are books on eBay, for this, you could find this for, I don't know, $20 for a low-grade reader copy. This one happens to be a really nice copy. This is probably a VF, probably an 8.0 or so. And this is a book that I think, the market hasn't quite caught on to yet. I mean, granted, this is not necessarily Star-Lord's first appearance ever. He has his first appearances in those Marvel preview magazines, but I feel like there's a bias against some of those preview magazines. One, because I just think that, those, they're not in color. And then two, they're a bigger format. So I feel like people don't want to collect them as much because, they don't fit in a comic book box. You have to have a special box for those preview magazines. And for that reason, I feel like this book is really undervalued. I mean, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of took the world by storm. Nobody was really thinking that Star-Lord was going to be this great popular cultural phenomenon like he is. And I feel like this book will eventually catch up in the market. I mean, when you go onto eBay, you can find this book for $30, $40 or so. And considering people spend $50 on spec books tangentially related to, Loki, I mean, why would you spend that money on a book like that versus a book like this, which is, effectively his first appearance within context to comic books. So I think this one is a really cool pickup. And I think that once we get Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think that this book is actually going to totally moonshot. But again, not a book that, I was particularly interested in owning personally for the collection, but one that, because it was being charged at such a good deal, I couldn't pass on it. All right, the next book is a book that I have sort of been looking for. I mean, it's not something that I needed in my collection, but was one that I was always sort of hoping to come across. And this is actually Tales of Suspense #46, first appearance of Crimson Dynamo. And this is a cool book, man. This is a cool Silver Age book. A lot of people were thinking that maybe Crimson Dynamo was going to show up in the Black Widow movie because of the leaks of David Harbour. I think it's still possible that we might see a Crimson Dynamo eventually in the MCU. I mean, between Armor Wars, between whatever they decide to do with the Red Guardian character moving forward, it feels like there's a lot of room or a lot of avenues for them to bring in Crimson Dynamo. And this is a really, really cool book. Now, I was able to get this one for $100, which is a pretty good deal overall, considering this book is actually pretty nice. It looks like could be a 5.5 or so. So I was really happy to score this one. And yeah, for $100, I think this is a great villain book, and one that I think, absolutely could 2x or 3x if we get, Crimson Dynamo in some kind of way in the future. All right, the next book I got here is also a very, very cool one that has gotten extremely hot recently based on all the rumors. This is Marvel Premiere #10, featuring Doctor Strange, and this is the first appearance of the character known as Shumagorath. And this one is really cool because a lot of people think that Shumagorath might be the ultimate villain in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie. Of course, Shumagorath is kind of like a Lovecraftian villain and, kind of lives between multiverses. So people are thinking that, maybe he's going to be using America Chavez to try to, manifest in our actual universe. And this is the first appearance of that character. And this is a cool book. This is one that I got for $10, like a total score. I mean, this is a book right now that, I see being charged constantly around the $80 to $100 range. So for $10, definitely a great pickup in my opinion. And I don't know what I want to do with this one. I don't know if I want to sell it now based on the rumor or keep it, in case we see Shumagorath in a trailer of some kind. But again, not a book that I was, wanting to have necessarily for my collection, but one that I was able to pick up at a good deal. And, if you got a good deal for me, I definitely want to swoop you up. All right, the next book I have here is a very, very cool one as well. This is Tales of Suspense number 48. And what is the significance of this? This is the first time we ever see Iron Man in his red and gold armor. Of course, you guys know Iron Man made his first appearance in Tales of Suspense number 39, but he had the metallic suit. And then, in the next few issues or so, he would have just the all gold uniform. And then eventually in this one, he would have his iconic armor, which is this red and yellow one here. And this is a cool book, and I was able to find this one for $50. So $50, definitely worth picking up in my opinion. I see this book being charged for, the $200-$250 range all the time. Again, not a book that I've necessarily wanted in my collection, but at that price, like I had to pick it up. I just definitely had to pick it up. All right, the next book I have here, this one is a very cool one, and one that I think, you never know with this type of thing. You never know. This is Thor 133, and what is the significance of this? Is the first appearance of Ego, the living planet. Now, of course, in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we had Ego was the villain. He is the father of Star-Lord within context to the MCU. Now, for all intents and purposes, this would be a book that people would say is done. Oh, it's over. We're never going to see Ego again. But honestly, I mean, you never know. You really never know with the MCU at this point. And, in the future, I'm going to do a video that talks about this idea of like a book being done. Because just because the character was in a movie and then that movie is now past doesn't mean that that book is now worthless. In fact, if anything, it now means that this book has been solidified as a key book within context to pop culture. So to me, this one right here, first appearance of Ego, Living Planet, I think this is a really great book. I mean, this is like just a great key to have. Found this one for $20, not a bad price in my opinion. I see good deals on eBay for this one all the time. And, I know that everybody probably wants to sell their book for this because they know that, we're not going to get Ego again. But again, he's still a cool character. He's still solidified as a, canon to the MCU. I don't know why people wouldn't want to have a copy of that book. All right, next one here, I was able to get also another Thor book. This is Thor 148. First appearance of the Wrecker. Now, I already have this book. This is one that I got even before the rumors of the Wrecking Crew making their way into the MCU. I always thought the Wrecker was an awesome character, and I already had the book, but I decided to pick up this copy because this was actually a better grade than the one that I currently own. This one was also being sold at $20, a very respectable price. So to me, it's really easy thing to do where it's like, okay, cool. Like I got my old book. I'll pick this one up for $20. I'll buy, I'll sell my old book. Now I've upgraded the grade overall and I've not lost any money in the deal because currently this one is being charged, $50, $60, $70 on eBay, especially coming off the heels of the rumors of the Wrecking Crew. So super happy to find that one. All right, another book I was able to pick up here. This is a very cool one. I feel like there's a lot of keys that are coming out of the Submariner run right now. This one is Submariner number 13, and there is a first appearance of Gargantus, some character like that. There was an actor that there was a rumor that came out. This actor is slated to play this character, and that character's first appearance is in this book, like a tentacle octopus creature, very, very obscure. But this one has absolutely gone crazy. Speculators going to speculate, and everybody's jumping on this book. I was able to find this copy for $20, which was already like kind of surprising. It was like a little more expensive than I would have thought, being that this is kind of just at one point was considered a filler issue. But this is a really nice copy. I mean, this is probably like an 8.5 or a 9 or so. So definitely a really high grade version of this book. And who knows what's going to happen with that character. I mean, if she comes into the MCU and plays a big pivotal role, I mean, this is an interesting book for sure. I actually really love this cover. I'm a big fan of the Serpent Crown storyline, and I like that the Serpent Crown is on the cover right there. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited overall with the Submariner keys. I think that there's a lot of good stuff that's going to come out of that run, and we're only starting to scratch the surface. All right, I got 2 more books here to show off. This one, I'm very excited about this. I got a Strange Tales number 158. This one I got for $50. Great price, again, considering what you can see on this going for on eBay. And this is a really, really nice copy. I mean, definitely some color breaks here along the spine, but other than that, like, this is a super, super clean version of this book. Now, I already have this book. There you see it right there above my shoulder, but I was able to get this other one. And similar to the Wrecker one, I'm just going to now move on with this one because this is a much higher grade. And now I've been able to upgrade. So happy to have landed this book. And again, going back to that idea of buying the deal rather than the book, like I wasn't looking for this book at all because I already own a copy of it. So, but when I was talking to the guy and asking him, hey, do you have this book? Do you have this book? You know, I was just spitting out ideas to him of like key books that I think, you know, are great pickups to have. And if I didn't mention this book, like, I would not have been able to find that deal for it. And so ultimately, I think that's something that's really important, at least in terms of like, you know, the investing side of comic book collecting, or, you know, being able to build equity within your collection. You know, you can't always just find the book that you want to collect. I mean, granted, look, again, collect what you want, you know, get whatever books you want. But if you want to try to, you know, make your way towards grails that are, you know, currently out of your budget, you're going to have to be able to pick up some keys that you can trade into that. So I feel like it's really important to, you know, pick up books that you feel like you're finding at really great deals, so that then you have these trading chips to move on. All right. And speaking of, the last book I have here is another one that I think is amazing. This is one, this book right here is a book that I got for, like, this is the best score deal I've ever got of any key book. Now, granted, I'm sure that there's books that I found in dollar bins that, you know, whatever, are worth $50. Like, so 50x below FMV. But, you know, those ones aside, this is the biggest key book that I was able to find for a deal, considering what it's actually worth. And this one right here, I already showed it at the top of this video, but I was actually able to get 2 copies of this. This is Journey into Mystery, Annual #1, first appearance of Hercules, first appearance of Zeus. I was able to get this copy for $40. Now, if you guys know, this book is one that sells on eBay for like $300, $350, sometimes $400, depending on the grade. I'm not really sure what this one could be graded as. Maybe it's probably a VG plus, maybe it's a 5 or so. It does have this one kind of color break right here on the T, but overall, I mean, it presents pretty nicely, and it looks really nice. You know, looks pretty good overall, holds together very, very well. So this one, $40. I mean, this was a complete steal, in my opinion. And I'm so excited to have this book. I mean, this is definitely one that is going to stay in the collection. I mean, now that I have 2 of them, I'll probably move one of them, keep the other one, probably put this one on the wall. Again, not a book that I was ever necessarily hunting, but one that, you know, at this deal, at that price, I couldn't pass it up. I had to get both of these copies. So very, very happy I have them. And then it's great because I get to move one of them, and effectively that can pay for the entire rest of the books, you know, overall. But again, one that I also think that, you know, I might start to send some of these books to CGC. I know you guys are like, oh, what are you doing? What are you talking about? But, you know, to me, I think that, you know, it's about time that we send some books to CGC, especially ones like these that I know are like big keys. Because, you know, for me, I want to know what kind of grade these can get. I want to know the proper value, and I want to be able to take those books and be able to trade them into keys that I ultimately really want. You know, I got to get my first Black Knight, right? So I got to be able to get top dollar for those types of things. And if I have these books slabbed, that gives me an opportunity to make a trade for them. So that is my comic book haul for you guys. You know, again, collect what you want ultimately at the end of the day, but you know, if you can find opportunities to buy the deal rather than the book, I think a lot of times that can be really good for your collection and can ultimately lead you to the books that you invariably want. Anyways, that was all for this video. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next one.